Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Stalktober special event of the Heart of the Jakuls. As always, I'm your host Lothran, and there's still a little more dirt to clean from the top of our prize. So let's sift through it and move on. Grab a quick snack, find the best spot you can, get all warm and cozy to pay close attention to Ravenous. Ito put the book in the small pile, still easily as tall as he was, as thick as a few shelves next to each other, and too long to follow with his eyes while he sorted through the tomes. He went to grab another and found it already springing into his hands. "Hello," a soft little voice said from just behind the pile of books he had yet to sort. Ito didn't jump or start at the contact. She wasn't rough or cruel, so there was no need to be that way yet. But he'd have to at some point, so he prepared himself for that eventuality. It's best to handle these intrusions delicately. "You're not really an initiate, are you? I mean, the teacher says that technically you are. But you're constantly correcting him and showing him the evidence of why he's incorrect. You could practically do his job for him. You're even better at telling the tales." "I don't want to be a teacher, and no, I won't help you cheat." Ito read the book that he held, putting it into the large pile. It wasn't written with any flair, any descriptive resonance. There was no flavor or sound or shape to the words, and it didn't really have anything important to say, so there was no need for him to ever touch it again. "I heard from someone that you read all the books you sort," the girl said aloud with a bit of wonder and misunderstanding. "I do," Ito replied, leaving his hand out for the next book. If she was going to assist him to play her game, why not let her assist? It just made things easier for a time. That was all. She supplied him with a really heavy and verbose tome on the formation of the first Jakul state. Wordy. That wasn't one of the ones he'd selected. In fact, it was in his top 100 all-time books already. There'd be no reason for it to be in these piles. He hesitated to put it back on the sorting pile, and feeling like he did want to read through a few familiar chapters, Ito placed it out in front of him. A new pile of old favorites. He patted it a few times lovingly. "See, you didn't read that one either." She giggled a bit, but didn't shy away from Ito's single-eyed stare when he twisted his head to gaze at the girl. "I have read it before. I really like that book. More than just a simple historical tome, artful in the way it was designed and presented. It might be the source of the heart stories themselves, or at least the first compendium of them." "Nuh-uh. No way. There's no way you read that thing, or any other book, just by grabbing it." "I have a hunger in me, my sweet Ophidian girl. I feast with endless crunching jaws upon the words of all beings written into the fabric of each tome. Ask me anything from any tome I have already read." "Who was the first Jakul ruler?" she snapped back. "The Vu ruled over the Jakuls for untold time, but if you meant of Jakul upon Jakul, then no one knows the name of the two, a husband and wife. The archivists believe them to have been of the Su-Zet tribe. They united several disparate peoples in and around regions of the Zeta 534 sector, and the kingdom still technically stands today, but now it's a series of farming villages, ruled by a democratic republic." Wow. It took me ages to find that stuff out. She snatched up one of his two fingers in the hands of both of hers. "Can you read me?" Ito snatched his hands back from her. "No, I read books, not beings." He judged he looked more than a little hurt from his reaction. She bent to reach out and assuage his feelings, but only managed to trip and topple through a great defensive wall of books and tomes. Ito dodged out of her way as she landed in a heap of limbs and plastic pages. "A little help," she cried up to him, begging, as she struggled to get back to her feet. Ito shook his head in her direction, letting the girl sort herself out of her own mess. Though he was concerned for the books she was trampling upon, he gave no mind to her own state of affairs. She did eventually right herself, straightening her disheveled robes when she almost had things under control, wavering back and forth just a tad. "You're not very much help to me, are you?" "No, I am not," Ito said honestly. She shot him a cold glare, but eventually broke into a smile and a bit of a laugh. "You're pretty funny," she said to what he meant as a joke. "Can I get back to my studies?" "Do they ever let you have your own time to do as you like?" "This is to my liking. You were helping me do that before interrupting me." "I want to get back to it." "I've seen all the instructors other than Grand Instructor Anand load you with more work than 1,000 students. I didn't know they had you sorting all these old books in your free time." "I said before, this is my free time. I choose to do with it what I will," Ito replied, selecting a book at random from the pile. How to Prepare for the Long March, a classic. He put it with the others of his top 100s. He sat back down, no longer towering over the girl with his presence. She sat down next to him, starting to stack the books back into the wall they had been before. A lot of people said you were horrifically evil." "A lot of people say a lot of things they have no evidence for," Ito replied carefully, putting another book into the large never need to read again pile. "I've heard you can do things other people can't do." Here it is, he thought. "Listen, we can end this now and continue to be civil. But as you can see, I have a lot of work I'd like to get done before we go to sleep tonight. So you could walk away politely and quietly and think nothing more sinister of me, or you could run away in tears at the truth I exposed to you about yourself. You pick." Ito turned away from her, selecting out the next book to absorb into his bottomless informational gullet. "You don't scare me," she whispered beside him, sitting down next to Ito. "Go ahead, do your worst." Ito turned her way and began to tell her all the things he could observe about her just from a glance. "And so it is, we've come to the end of our time together once again. As always, I've been your pleased host, Lothran, and this was Ravenous. Another tale right from the heart of the Jakuls. Korvoth, guide them out along the proper path, if you will."
Hello and good night to each and all. Please leave your comments, questions, and pleasantries down below. None of that awful rude or mean stuff, though. You keep that to yourself. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to help us learn, spread, and grow. We strongly encourage each and every one of you to do your absolute utmost to stay safe out there. Goodbye, everybody. Good night and good luck. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye.